the president is already back to lashing out at his critics and taking his cues from the NRA. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. We are now, once again, going through the absurd post-tragedy ritual of watching the media speculate over whether Donald Trump is capable of changing his tone. The media seems desperate to believe that Trump has a bunch of different tones and moves and strategies, but he doesn't. He's not a Swiss Army knife, he's just a sharp stick. But yesterday, he insisted to reporters that he had already changed his tone, and he began by stating the obvious.
So my critics are political people. They're trying to make points.
Yes, I agree. They're trying to make points. That's not a defense. That's just a literal description of what's happening. So my critics are human beings who are forming sentences with their mouths, and out of those mouths are coming words that are in English. Sounds like an alien trying to explain the rules of basketball. There are tall beings who use the orange orb to make points. Trump can't go a day, he can't even go a few hours without fighting with someone because that's his favorite thing to do. It might be the only thing he likes doing. If he weren't president, he'd be a guy wandering around the city waiting for someone to accidentally bump into him. That's why he always walks around with his chest puffed out like that. Hey, ass, did you bump into me? You want to go? Let's go right now. For example, just hours after he lied and said he changed his tone, Trump found time to respond to a speech by Joe Biden.
Watching sleepy Joe Biden making a speech, so boring. The lamestream media will die in the ratings and clicks with this guy. It will be over for them, not to mention the fact that our country will do poorly with him. It will be one big crash, but at least China will be happy.
Think about how much of a narcissist you have to be to tweet about how much better you are for TV ratings on a day when you're supposed to be consoling victims of a tragedy. It's like if you crashed a car while drunk driving and your first thought was, oh my God, I'm gonna be on Cops. Yesterday, Biden was asked if he wanted to respond to any of Trump's attacks on him, and he had a very curt response.
Do you want to respond to the president responding to you?
He should get a life.
But that's the problem. That is the problem right there. Fighting with people online is his life. That's all he wants to do. If he were president in 1996 instead of 2019, Biden would have gotten an AOL instant message from someone named the Donald69 that said, "You suck, loser, sad. See you at school tomorrow." In fact, Trump seemed to spend all day lashing out at people, even if they didn't actually criticize him. For example, he picked a totally bizarre fight with the mayor of Dayton, Nan Whaley, and Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown. According to CNN, after Trump's trip, Brown said Trump was received well by the patients, was comforting, and did the right things. Whaley said victims were grateful to see Trump and that he was treated well by the victims for sure. Neither of the two Democrats alleged that Trump was badly received at the hospital. Now, you might think, how could you possibly find a way to get mad about that? Well, if you're thinking that, congratulations, you don't have Donald Trump's brain disease, because despite saying only nice things about his reception to the hospital, Brown and Whaley were both subjected to nasty tweets from Trump.
The president weighed in saying, quote, "Just left Dayton, Ohio, where I met with the victims and families, law enforcement, medical staff, and first responders. It was a warm and wonderful visit, tremendous enthusiasm and even love. Then I saw failed presidential candidate 0% Sherrod Brown and Mayor Whaley totally misrepresenting what took place inside of the hospital."
Their news conference after I left for El Paso was a fraud. It bore no resemblance to what took place with those incredible people that I was so lucky to meet and spend time with. They were all amazing.
First of all, in case you missed it, he accidentally wrote Amazing O, which I guess is a knockoff version of SpaghettiOs. Dad, we want SpaghettiOs for dinner. Here, have some Amazing O's. They're just as good. I bought them at Shop Wrong. Second, and I'm asking this sincerely, what the are you talking about? How did you manage to take what they said about you and get mad about it? What chemical are you missing from your brain that makes you like this? Is it the same chemical responsible for telling you which direction to walk in so you don't amble around in circles on the White House lawn like an old man who wandered away from the group home? I mean, look at him just shuffling around like he's looking for a golf ball. You guys seen a Titleist with a $sign on it? We're gonna have to put a sign around his neck that says, "If found, return to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue." Then, after Trump's unhinged tweet barrage, we got to watch the mayor of Dayton find out in real time that Trump had tweeted about her, read the tweet, and try to figure out what the hell he was talking about.
Just left Dayton, Ohio. It's two tweets. Don't blame.
Totally misrepresenting what's this. What does the tweet say? I'm really confused. We said he was treated, very well, so.
I'd love to hear what was.
I don't know what they're talking about misrepresenting, so. Oh well, he lives in his world of Twitter.
You know, it's such a relief to see a politician have a normal human reaction to Trump's tweets. Usually you either get Republicans making excuses or Democrats justifiably angrily denouncing him, but it's rare to see someone in real time just be like, what? What? I guess somebody put something in his amazing O's. But in that press conference, Whaley and Brown did offer some justified criticism of Trump that had nothing to do with the hospital visits. Brown, for example, said Trump would never act on gun violence because he and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell are, of course, beholden to the NRA.
Republicans for years now have dug in and done the bidding of the NRA. The National Rifle Association, the gun lobby, gives millions of dollars to Republican candidates and spends millions and millions against Democrats like me that get an F from the NRA, that have stood up to the NRA. We can't get anything done in the Senate because Mitch McConnell and the President of the United States are in bed with the gun lobby.
That's true, but the only quibble I have is with the metaphor, I don't think Trump ever goes to bed. I think he spends all night wandering around the White House lawn looking for reporters to yell at. Where are you, Jake Tapper? Come out! But it's true, of course, Trump takes his marching orders on gun policy from the NRA. In fact, yesterday during a Q&A with reporters on the White House lawn, amid a national crisis over gun violence and white supremacy, Trump said that there was no political will for a ban on assault weapons and offered some vague, half-hearted comments about background checks where even he seemed unclear on what exactly he was proposing.
I have had plenty of talks over the last 2 days, and I think something's going to be we're going to come up with something that's going to be really very good, beyond anything that's been done so far. I think we can bring up background checks like we've never had before. I think both Republican and Democrat are getting close to a bill to doing something on background checks.
They're doing something on background checks. This is a national emergency, and he talks about it with all the specificity of a dad who has no idea where his kids are. I don't know. I think they're upstairs doing something on a computer. I also think I heard a bobcat. But Trump reportedly got a call from NRA CEO Wayne LaPierre warning him to back off.
What we are told by the reporting of the Washington Post is that there was a Tuesday phone call from Wayne LaPierre with the president, and the message from the National Rifle Association would be that the Trump supporters in that powerful organization would not support the president if he were to move forward with background checks. The message from the NRA to the president was careful about doing that. That goes against what the president has been saying publicly.
Of course it does, because you can't trust anything this president says publicly. First of all, he barely said anything to begin with. I mean, listen to how vague he was.
I think something's going to we're going to come up with something that's going to be really very good, beyond anything that's been done so far.
I mean, he is a master of using a bunch of words to say absolutely nothing. He always sounds like the guy in a movie whose job it is to distract a security guard while his partner steals a painting from the Louvre. They're gonna come up with something that's gonna be so good, very good, beyond anything. That's right. Roll it up. Trump and the NRA are closely linked for many reasons, one of which is something they both have in common. They are grifters and scam artists. Take, for example, Trump's visit to El Paso yesterday. This isn't the first time he's been there. In fact, he held a rally there in February, and his campaign has racked up more than $500,000 in expenses owed to the city of El Paso, expenses they still haven't paid.
Donald Trump is going to El Paso while he still owes the city of El Paso over $500,000 from his last visit to El Paso. The president has an outstanding bill of $569,204.63 for police and public safety services associated with a February campaign rally in El Paso.
Man, going back to El Paso when you owe the city $500,000 is a bold move. They're gonna have to put the boot on Air Force One. In fact, the bill. Let's get out of here. Oh, no! In fact, the bill has actually gotten bigger the longer it goes unpaid. Trump owed an initial fee of about $470,000, but the city tacked on a 21% one-time late fee in June. And of course, Donald Trump has incurred a late fee. That's so him. I'm surprised his Oval Office desk isn't covered in unreturned Blockbuster DVDs. You guys seen Tango and Cash? It's really good. A lot of chemistry between the two leads. I'm a tango guy. Terry. Got a young Terry Hatcher in it. By the way, at the same time Trump is ignoring a $500,000 debt to El Paso, he also scheduled a headline fundraisers in the Hamptons where tickets run as high as $250,000. But this is something Trump has in common with the NRA. They're also huge grifters, as we learned from a recent string of financial scandals that have nearly crippled the NRA. In fact, just yesterday, the Washington Post reported that LaPierre sought to have the nonprofit organization buy him a luxury mansion, selecting a French country-style estate in a gated Dallas area golf club, a 10,000-square-foot estate with lakefront and golf course views on the market for about $6 million. A $6 million mansion in Texas. Meanwhile, in New York, $6 million will get you a two-bedroom condo, and your landlord is an actual rat. This explains so much. So much of our politics right now. Donald Trump and his fellow grifters on the right sell their base racism and paranoia, and all the while they and their wealthy patrons are cashing in. We've seen corruption and racism from presidents before, but what Trump is doing now is
beyond anything that's been done so far.
This has been A Closer Look.